तो साथियों, आज उस विषय पर हम चर्चा करते हैं जिसके ऊपर आपने मुझे प्रश्न भेजा था, व्हाट इज एनलाइटनमेंट। पहले वो चर्चा करते हैं हो सकता है कि आपने वो पर्टिकुलर वीडियो ना देखा हो, मैं उसके लिंक ऊपर जरूर आपके साथ शेयर कर रहा हूँ, डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में भी उसकी लिंक मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा। आप वो वीडियो जरूर देखिएगा। एक इमोशनल इम्यूनिटी के ऊपर है और हाउ टू हैंडल फियर्स इन द करंट कोविड सिचुएशन, और तमाम किसी भी स्केरी सिचुएशन में, किसी भी फियरफुल सिचुएशन में कैसे हम फियर को हैंडल कर सकते हैं, उसके बारे में मैंने चर्चा करी हुई है। और उसमें एक स्लाइड में मैंने ये चर्चा करी थी कि व्हाट इज एनलाइटनमेंट। पहले मैंने जो चर्चा करी है, पहले उसके बारे में चर्चा करते हैं, फिर उसके बारे में आगे डिटेल बात करेंगे। नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर लोकेश भाटिया। सब्सक्राइब करें लोक टॉक्स चैनल को प्रोफेशनल मेडिकल गाइडेंस के लिए, स्पिरिचुअलिटी एंड मेडिटेशन के लिए एंड लाइफ कोचिंग सेशंस के लिए। यह है मेरा व्हाट्सएप नंबर, आप कभी भी संपर्क कर सकते हैं। धन्यवाद। व्हाट इज एनलाइटनमेंट में इट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग व्हाट आई स्पोक टू यू अबाउट अर्लियर इज इट इज राइजिंग अबव थॉट्स। ठीक है, in enlightened state you still use your thinking mind when needed, but in a more focused manner and more effective way than otherwise, right? You use it mostly for more practical purposes, but you are free from involuntary internal dialogue and there is inner stillness. बाहर कितना भी कुछ क्यों नहीं चल रहा हो। आज ही मैं एक कहानी सुन रहा था जिसमें एक पेंटिंग बनाने की कंपटीशन थी और अल्टीमेटली उस पेंटिंग को प्राइज दिया जाता है। हजारों पेंटिंग्स बुलाई जाती हैं, शॉर्ट लिस्टेड 100 पेंटिंग्स में से अल्टीमेटली वो पेंटिंग सिलेक्ट की जाती है जिसमें सारे पेंटर्स को देख करके आश्चर्य होता है। और वो पेंटिंग बेसिकली थी पीस के ऊपर। तो पीस के ऊपर एक पेंटिंग बनाने के लिए दिया जाता है और उसमें पेंटर ने एक बहुत बिजली कड़क रही है और एक हट बनी हुई है, उसमें एक खिड़की है और एक उसमें एक लड़का बहुत ही उस दृश्य को भी डरने के बजाय, घबराने के बजाय उस दृश्य को भी बड़े आनंदित तरीके से उसका आनंद ले रहा है, मुस्कुरा रहा है। उसको भी उन्होंने उसको अवार्ड दिया था। कहने का मतलब यह है कि इतनी सारी तकलीफें, बिजली गड़गड़ा रही है, इतना सब कुछ हो रहा है, उसके बाद भी चूंकि वो अपनी इनर स्टिलनेस को महसूस कर रहा है, इसलिए वो इतना शांत और आनंद उस परिस्थिति का ले पा रहा है। थिंकिंग एंड कॉन्शियसनेस आर नॉट सिनोनिमस। थिंकिंग इज ओनली अ स्मॉल एस्पेक्ट ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस। Thought cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness can exist without thoughts. So the consciousness doesn't needs thought to exist. तो ये चर्चा मैंने आपसे उस टॉक में पहले करी थी और आज अपन आगे की और चर्चाएं करते हैं। मैं आपसे ये चर्चा करना चाहूंगा कि एक बड़े फेमस स्पिरिचुअल लीडर, एक स्पिरिचुअल ऑथर है, एकार्ट टोल नाम के। उन्होंने अपनी पुस्तक में एक बड़ी सुंदर सी कहानी डिस्क्राइब करी हुई है। मैं वर्नाक्युलरली बिल्कुल हूबहू वही आपको पढ़ के सुनाना चाहूंगा। और उसमें उन्होंने एक कहानी ये शेयर करी है। मैं हिंदी के श्रोताओं के लिए मैं हिंदी में पहले उस कहानी को बता देता हूँ कि एक बेगर कुछ 30 सालों से एक बॉक्स के ऊपर बैठ करके बेगिंग कर रहा होता है। एक आदमी वहां से गुजरता है और उससे जब वो बेगिंग करता है तो वो कहता है कि I don't have anything to give you. But did you ever check what is there inside that box? उस बॉक्स जिसके ऊपर आप बैठे हो उसको आपने कभी खोल करके देखा? उसने कहा मैंने कभी खोल के नहीं देखा, पर मैं इस बॉक्स के ऊपर पिछले 30 सालों से बैठ करके बेगिंग कर रहा हूँ, भीख मांग रहा हूँ। उस व्यक्ति के बहुत कहने पर जब उसने वो बॉक्स खोल करके देखा तो वो बॉक्स सोने से भरा हुआ था। तो साथियों, कहने का मतलब ये है कि हम अपने अंदर झांक करके नहीं देखते हैं, हम हमेशा बाहर डिपेंडेंट रहते हैं हमारी हर आवश्यकताओं को, तो उस कारण से हम परेशान होते रहते हैं। आइए उसको उन्हीं के शब्दों में जानते हैं, समझते हैं उसी कहानी। सो द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑब्स्टिकल टू एनलाइटनमेंट, व्हाट इज दैट? A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day a stranger walked by, spared some change, and mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old basketball. I have nothing to give you. I have nothing to give you, said the stranger. Then he asked, what's that you are sitting on? Nothing, he replied. Just an old box, and I have been sitting for as long as 30 years. The stranger is asking him, did you ever look inside? Beggar really started thinking, what's the point? There's nothing inside. The stranger asked him, have you ever checked inside? The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw the box was filled with gold. I am that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. But I am not a beggar. I can hear you say, those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and deep unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars. Even if they have great material wealth, they are looking outside for scrapes of pleasures or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things but is infinitely greater than anything else what one can offer. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment. The ego likes to keep it that way, but it is simply your natural state of felt oneness with being. It is a state of connectedness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that almost paradoxically is essentially you, and yet it is much greater than you. It is finding your true nature beyond the name and form. The inability to feel this connectedness gives rise to the illusion of separation from yourself and from the world around you. You then perceive yourself consciously or unconsciously as an isolated fragment. Fear arises and conflict within and without becomes the norm. I love Buddha's simple definition of enlightenment as end of suffering. When you get rid of your ego, your suffering expires. You have no more suffering, right? There is nothing superhuman in that. Of course, as a definition, it is incomplete. The end of suffering, it's like an incomplete definition. It only tells you what enlightenment is not, that is, no suffering, right? But what's left when there is no more suffering? The Buddha is silent on that, and his silence implies that you will have to find it out yourself. He uses a negative definition so that the mind cannot make it into something to believe in or into a superhuman accomplishment, a goal that is impossible for you to attain. Despite this precaution, the majority of Buddhists still believe that enlightenment is for the Buddha and not for them, at least not in this lifetime. You use the word being. Can you explain that? What does that mean? So, to this question, Echart Toll is very beautifully described. Being is eternal, ever present, the one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. However, being is not only beyond but also deep within every form as its innermost invisible and indestructible essence. This means that it is accessible to you now as your deepest self, your true nature. But don't seek to grasp it with your mind. Let's understand what Lao Tse wants to say about it. He has given a very wonderful definition. And he says, knowing others is wisdom, and knowing yourself is enlightenment. Right? So, on enlightenment, one doesn't attain some special mysterious spatial powers. The power of enlightenment is simply a heightened state of awareness and the ability to see what is in front of you that others cannot see. Doesn't mean that we are flawless, but it means we are more aware and watching our thoughts, feelings, and reactions as an observer, and always learning from them so that we don't make same mistakes and minimize the number of mistakes, right? So enlightenment and awareness, for the most part are one and the same. You cannot have enlightenment without awareness. Rather, having a heightened sense of awareness is enlightenment. There is profound sense of inner connectiveness through awareness that everything that is here is all part of same thing and something greater. That there is oneness, a one mind, and we are part of it. And this is enlightenment. When you have feeling of oneness with all other beings, you are having enlightenment. There are two entrances or two paths to enlightenment. Let's understand what are they. Through the gate of principle, it is to become enlightened to the truth through the basic teachings of the doctrine. One must have a strong and unwavering faith in the fact that the true nature of truth is within all the sentient beings. True nature of the truth is there within all the sentient beings. Truth is within the laws of nature. Once a person begins to see and understand these laws of nature, they are on the path of enlightenment. Through the second way is through the gate of practice. There are 4 steps or increments that make up the principles to this entrance. Number 1 is accepting all the sufferings with equanimity, Pragyata. To accept suffering as the result of past transgression, it's to take whatever you get, just accept it. Second is accept your circumstances. To know what is in your control and what isn't. That whatever may be, you will embrace it equally. It is all transitory, all an illusion. Third is diminish your desires. In learning how to diminish your desires, you will realize that suffering is brought about and rooted in the desires. Therefore, eliminate desire and you will eliminate suffering. The fourth is practice in accordance with the dharma and to expel all the thoughts that are wrong, hurtful and of a lesser mind. In a pure mind, there is no evil, right? With these 4 steps, it is possible for the true nature to be attained. The true nature here is referring to the Buddha's nature. You already have everything you need. It's time to wake up and flip the switch on. Only splashing holy water cannot wash away your ill deeds. Just the blessings of a saint won't liberate us from our sufferings. It is this realization, what I have been talking about, to minimize your suffering. That's the only way to get away from your desires. Self-realization can't be transferred from a guru to a shishya. Just like that. Enlightenment and liberation are the teachings that a seeker must make an effort to learn. A cleansing that we must undergo. Quest whose answers have to be earned. The answers have to be learned, right? A development has 7 stages. Let's understand those 7 stages. These stages one has to adopt in day-to-day practice, day-to-day life. Number 1 is equanimity, Pragyata. Remove all emotional boulders that block the progress. A friend and a foe, praise and criticism, ninda stuti, sab ek saman, must not trigger the knee-jerk reflex, knee-jerk responses. 2. Deeply felt appreciation and gratitude for kindness showered on us. Even an enemy is a teacher, teaches us tolerance and patience. Every enemy is teaching you tolerance and patience. So enemy is a teacher. Third is reciprocating this kindness with heroic intensity. Fourth is learning to love ourselves, learning to love others, loving even not so close friends as our best friends, feeling for everyone as much as a mother feels for her child. Fifth is compassion. I've already published one video before on compassion. I think in 2-3 videos I've covered on compassion. So compassion is a desire to relieve others from suffering, a strong wish to see everyone happy, learning to have mercy towards those who have negative or neutral feelings towards you or towards us, right? So that's very important to understand about compassion. The sixth is altruism. Altruism is living for happiness and liberation of others more than your own. Living for happiness and liberation of others more than your own. That is altruism. Seventh is serving others and helping them achieve their enlightenment through your unbiased sharing of learnings via love and compassion. In helping them liberate, you liberate your own self. Live to enlighten yourself and others. Liberate yourself by liberating others. So, my dear friends, I hope I could bring it a point in much detail about this enlightenment. I hope I could satisfy you with all this basic explanation, basic steps to understand about it, what this enlightenment means. And by understanding, by practicing these principles, you will definitely won't be having any more questions about what the enlightenment is. It is just looking within and trying to enjoy have the joy of being, and definitely more you look inside without any thoughts, right? As I said earlier, in meditation, the first and the fundamental, there are 4 steps. Any meditation in the world, there are 4 steps, or all meditations revolves around these 4. 1, awareness. 2, contemplation. 3, visualization. Affirmations, contemplation on affirmations, and visualization. And all this comes by increasing your focus or concentration. None of this in isolation can work out. All these things work out all together. Like focusing on your breathing, that you are, when you're focusing on your inhalation, focusing on your inspiration, focusing on your expiration, when your complete focus is on your respiration, you're no more thinking anything, just focusing on. So minimizing all the thoughts. When you practice daily, your heightened sense of awareness will lead you to enlightenment. Hope I could bring it a point and I could make you more to understand about what is enlightenment. Whenever the word enlightenment comes, immediately a picture of Buddha comes in front of us. I have already shared with you one story earlier about Buddha. Once it happened so that one person was unhappy with Buddha, and he just came in front of all his disciples, and he just came in front of him and he literally spat on Buddha. Not a single, not at all, absolutely no reaction Buddha had. And all the disciples were quite upset that this person has spat on you and you are not reacting at all. Why is that so? That person leaves, and within no time he comes back again and he realizes his mistakes and he comes back to apologize him. And that is the time he is telling his disciples that, see, he came back. If I would have reacted at that time, he would have started fighting with me. He would have his own justifications. But whenever someone is behaving badly, give them time to understand themselves. You try to understand yourself. Be at peace. Think about it. Why is that person behaving like this? You will definitely be able to respond well. You will definitely be able to. Not a single reaction from Buddha was becoming more painful for him. That man came back in no time and asked him to apologize him, to asking him for expressing his apology. And that was the time when all disciples got a big lesson about what can be enlightenment, right? So thank you very much. Share it with your friends. Hope you like the content. Don't forget to subscribe LOK Talks and hit on the bell icon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.